Good morning.
Hey, Joe, I'm sorry we are a couple minutes late. We just had a early lunch.
All good. No worries.
How are you?
Yep. I'm all right. Y'all get to see me in my back brace this morning.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. So how's your back doing?
It hurts pretty good.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, they had me doing therapy and all that, which is not fun.
Oh,
No.
no, not fun at all, for sure.
But all good. Yeah, so I know we need to talk about a few things, right? Number one, how the job postings are going on Indeed. What, if any, candidates we've gotten so far. Talk through the interview questions that you sent me, and I sent back,
Yep.
a little bit of feedback around. And then love to end on sharing with y'all what we came up with, at least in terms of our 2025 kind of high level goals, objectives, key results that we're going to track and measure ourselves against, things like that. So we're going to finish up with that, let y'all chew on it over the long extended holiday weekend, and then any fine tuning or adjustments that we need to make, we can look at doing together next week after y'all have a chance to kind of absorb it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, how's the Indeed job postings going? How are we looking in terms of candidate flow and things like that?
Yeah. So right now we have junior estimator. We have 4 active. I actually sent a message to one of them for the CNC programmer. I told Patricia to get in touch with the kid that came over the other day when you, I think we talked about
Last
that
Friday? No, it was.
Yeah, to do like a
Tuesday.
second interview where it's more of a skill, see what he can do, if he can really do what he says he can do. So that's where it's good to understand that a bit coming from a vocational school, we want to make sure that he can do the basics.
Sure.
That way we can build up because we are getting, I was talking to Patrick this morning, and machining department is definitely getting busier and busier as we go. And we don't even advertise because we know if once we do, we don't have enough machines and people for that particular type of service. But as far as the job post, we had 4 applicants.
But we see that is some applicants that they do leave out of the state. I don't think it's so. I don't know if we should move forward and schedule interview or just exit out and say like, no, they are not located in Massachusetts. So we see Florida, Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think in this case? Should we just?
So how have y'all done this in the past? Do y'all generally do like a phone screen type of reach out to them, or do you have them immediately come to in person?
Yes, immediately in person. We like to see them in person.
Definitely like the in-person thing. At least one, preferably 2 of those before we get to a place of a job offer. I would have us at least think through the possibility of a phone screen is probably the best terminology or the most consistently used terminology of this.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways that a quote unquote screening can be done. One of them is, we come up with somewhere between 3 and 5 very short questions that we would want to ask somebody. We call them, assuming they answer, we ask them those 3 to 5 questions. Based on their answer, we decide at that point, do we want to bring them in for an in-person interview?
Mhm.
That's kind of one option. Another option that is possible for us to maybe explore or talk through, it's something that I used in my couple of companies. So they're video-based recorded interviews.
Mhm.
So you may have seen these in the past, but basically we preload somewhere between 3 and 10 questions. Shorter generally is better. And they would get sent a link right after they apply. And they would go on there. They can do it on their phone. They can do it on a computer. It kind of doesn't matter, just somewhere that has a camera.
Okay.
and it'll pop
Yeah.
up, ask them the questions, and they record. You can put in there a time frame, but generally like 2 to 4 minute type response
Okay.
to their answer of the question. And then you get an email once those are submitted, and you can review them at your leisure. The reason I liked that personally better than just calling people is A, it doesn't take up my time.
Yeah,
B, if we have a large pool of applicants, I can watch those videos
Yeah.
one after another and really compare everyone pretty closely together because they're all getting asked the same questions, right? And it's a little easier when you do them in that short succession than trying to call 2 people today and 3 people
Yes.
tomorrow and
Yes.
one person the next day, and then you're on your 4th day and you're trying to remember those first couple of calls. What did I like or not like about those people? It's a little bit more challenging to do that.
Uh-huh. I
So it saves
agree.
you time, and it saves you the ability to kind of short list your candidates a little bit easier, especially when you're getting a large amount of candidates applying.
Okay.
One of those questions we could ask is something to the effect of, this is a, in-person position housed in, and list your city, or if you want to give the exact address, you can, but at least city and state. Are you willing and able to reliably commute? That's kind of the only legality way that we can ask that question.
yeah,
Is, are you willing and able to reliably commute consistently for this job? The job starts at this time, ends at this time, generally Monday through Friday, occasionally weekends, occasionally overtime, but can you reliably commute, yay or nay?
Okay.
So then that gives them the ability to, especially on like, excuse me, the recorded interview, they can say, assuming they want to do it, right? Yes, I currently live in Florida, but I'm moving back home, or,
mhm,
Yeah.
whatever. Then you have that insight of, well, on the resume, it looks like they're way, way, way far away, but now I got better clarity. And you at least know whether or not to count that person. And it's something you can dive in a little bit deeper into when it comes to in-person interview. What are your thoughts? I said a whole bunch of words.
I think it's doable. I like this way
yeah,
to do the videos. I never thought about that. For sure, we thought about doing the interview online, and we can send the link through Zoom, and even Ring Central, which is the one we use today.
mhm.
But at the video, you think they don't feel you think they feel comfortable doing it? So if I send the question, so I have to tell them to record a video, right? Like answering those 3 to 10 questions. That's what he
Mhm.
said. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So I've used a couple of different softwares. I mean, there's a bunch out there now
Uh-huh.
that we could probably utilize. I even think Indeed has the ability to
Indeed.
do some.
I think
Yeah, I
so.
think we could probably
Okay.
set it up that way.
Mhm,
I'm not sure if there is a cost on it from an Indeed perspective. I know the ones that I used, I mean, it wasn't crazy. It was like $20 a month, and you had,
Fine.
it was either 2 or 3 job postings you could have active going at the same time. So you could post more than 2 or 3, but you could only have 2 or 3 active at one given time period. And I think it was like up to 500 or something like
Oh,
that
wow.
applicants per thing. And you had like a max of 10 questions, a max of like 5 minutes per question. So shorter generally is better, because if you put yourself in the candidate's position, if you're going to get asked 10 questions and be asked to give a 5-minute response for every question, you're now doing a recording for an hour. That might deter people. They'll get through a couple of questions and be like, forget this, and never finish, because
yeah,
they just get irritated. So
mhm,
1 to 2 minute type answer, short,
Hard
quick,
question.
3 to 5 questions, because then if it's
Okay.
2 minutes each and there's 5 questions, it's 10 minutes for them to do it,
Yes.
right? That's a little bit
So
more
three to
doable.
five then
Yeah, I would say 2 minutes ish. Three
for
max is kind
three
of
to
the
five.
good time frame to think about when you're asking a question. And then I wouldn't ask more than 5, because all we're trying to do is shorten the list of our candidates. When we get them in
Right.
person, we can keep them there for as long as we want to, ask them as many questions as we want to. We're just trying to narrow down to
yeah,
really get a clear understanding. Is this somebody we want to bring in and spend our time interviewing? in a more in-depth manner.
Yep. Cool.
Can
So-
you maybe share your screen and pull up Indeed? I want to say they do have that ability.
Yeah, we are
and-
actually looking at it right now. So Joe, we just received this morning an email from someone from Indeed
Okay.
requesting the budget. So have you heard about that? Like, have you received an email from the Indeed sales team?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so this is normal.
yeah. You'll
Okay.
probably get one like every time.
All right.
You know, if
We
they're paid
actually
a
had-
commission, they're trying to upsell you. You know,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
that's how they make money, and both the company Indeed as well as the individual commission wise.
Got it.
So yeah, you'll probably get it every time. So it's
Okay. It's
up to
normal.
you if you want to respond. You know, if we're not getting great candidate flow or we're getting the wrong type of candidate or something,
Mhm.
Okay.
you know, it's generally is better to adjust how we're posting it than to spend more money,
Uh-huh.
unless it's an urgent hire, like we need this person tomorrow. If we're in that type of a situation, then maybe upping the budget to just increase the amount of candidates you get in a really, really fast manner. But generally speaking, I'm more of a fan of let's make sure the posting is attracting people and we're
Mm-hmm.
sending a
Video.
acceptable range, not going bananas crazy on spending money just to get candidates in.
Yes, yes.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. So duration 30 minutes. Trying to read this. My screen's like all
Yeah, 'cause
blurry.
you can make it 15 minutes.
Format video,
15 is too
message,
quick, I think.
Indeed video call. No need to download software yet like that. So I don't even know how to pronounce that. So Taharna.
What is
So
it?
then Ara Seek. Is that
Yeah,
the name
it's
of the
probably a
candidate?
Vietnamese, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sotnar.
Okay.
You got
There's
it.
a lot
Yeah, I
of-
think Sotnar.
There's a lot of
six-
machinists.
six-
So this is what you're doing right now is a video interview, like where you would be on the camera
Right.
with them, or in
It's
person and
fine.
obviously a phone. But I want to say there is a way to do I'm Googling it right now, so give me a second. Indeed video.
Television.
Yeah, I know what you're saying because I've seen it where they can send you a record.
Just scroll down.
Okay, yeah, it looks like they only have the video interviews like you were looking at, where both
Oh,
the interviewer and the candidate have to be on in order for it to work. So it doesn't look like they have the pre-recorded platform, or at least not anymore. They may have had it at some point in the past. I'm going to send you the one that I've used in the past.
okay.
I'm on their website right now.
What is the name?
I don't want to misquote you or anything, but I want to say it was like $20 to $25, something like that a month. It might have gone up since then. This was a few years ago. But I think it's worth maybe checking out.
It's like,
It looks like they got like a free demo type thing you can request. Where's my chat? Here, will you open maybe a new tab on your browser up there for me? And go to my interview.com.
it's my
Mine.
NY.
Just my once. So you have it in there twice. So myinterview.com.
Okay.
There you go. So this is the platform that I've used in the past. So it's where it's like you type it in, right? Whatever questions you want, and it will pop up on the candidate side and just like in text and say, you know, they'll have a minute or two to look at the question and think about what they want to say, and then they have a couple of minutes to record their
Oh.
response. They get like 3 tries or something. So if they didn't like what they said, they can redo it. And then when they're done, they submit it, and it automatically sends you an email saying so-and-so completed their video interview, and you can click on it and watch the video from beginning to end. It'll show the question, give their answer, show the next question, give their answer. So it's pretty decent in my opinion. I'm trying to remember the other one that I used before that. Give me a little bit and I'll think of it and I maybe send it to y'all later today. But this one was easy to remember, myinterview.com. So that's why I had that one. But if you want to maybe request the demo early part of next week or something, whenever, whatever works for y'all, so they can show you the functionality and how to set it up. I would say y'all probably only need the individual plan because that's 2 active jobs, 2 user seats. So you each would have a user, unlimited. Oh, they changed it. It used to be like 500 max. Unlimited one-way interviews. You can text or invite 500 people a month.
Wow.
And then there's all your kind of functionality stuff. So it's co-branded in the individual, meaning it'll have the My Interview logo, but you can also put your logo as well in there, so that at least from a branding perspective, there is some functionality there. But something like that would be ideal for us to think about next, maybe as we move into next year. Maybe not for these 2, but as we forward think, we're gonna grow our business. We're gonna need more people. When we're not in a urgent hiring need and we can more take our time, this might be something to not only, because if you're doing a bunch of interviews, that's a time suck, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to be having y'all doing 20 hours of interviews a week. Like that's not duplication in its finest. So leveraging technology would be a decent idea.
Yeah, I like that.
But in the interim, in terms of your original question, what do we do if we have somebody that's kind of far away geographically that applies to a role? You can do it one of 2 ways. I'm fairly confident Indeed has got messaging, like an instant messenger type thing. Maybe we formulate some type of question that is geographically, can you have reliable means of transportation to this address during these days, and just have them respond back to us, or if you want to just call them, either way. But get a clarification from them of either A, yes, I can do it, no problem, or, oh, I didn't know this was in person, or I, wasn't paying attention, or there's a Littleton in my state also, I didn't see the state, whatever it is.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah. So from the candidate, we have anyone that you like it? I checked the resume. There's some, I think it was one guy that he said, I know how to program, operate the machine, but I used to do invoicing, call customer. I was like, what? Maybe he was one of the owners. I don't know. Said, what is the payable receivable has to do with the machine? Like.
Yep.
Check that one.
So I'm going to just send this over to you. I threw this in Chat GBT just because that's like my favorite thing to use now.
Yes.
How can you legally ask a candidate during a interview or screening if they can reliably commute to work? And it basically just says, state your address, state the dates and times of the job role. And then the question is, based on your location, do you have reliable transportation to get you to and from work on a consistent basis? We can't ask them what their mode of transportation is. Like, are they taking a car or a bus, or we can't ask that. All we can really ask them is, here's where you have to be. How often you need to be there? Can you get there? Kind of thing. Not how far away would it be? Oh, well, this is the Boston area, Massachusetts. We get snow all the time. Like, is that going to pose a problem? We can't ask those questions.
Okay.
Because that then goes into, like, how are you getting there? And we can't ask how. We can just ask, can you or can you not do it?
So so when, like, looking at applications, when I see this, it's just It does turn me down because it's.
So can you unhighlight all the text that makes it difficult
Which
for me to
one?
read? Thank you.
Oh,
There you go.
It
yeah,
has the
too
experience,
much.
but wasn't able to hold a job.
For more than a
So I
year.
would ask that. That is a question we can ask.
Yeah.
It's all in how you frame the question. So what's this person's name? Todd?
Yeah.
Todd, I've noticed since March of 2019, you've had 4 different places of employment. Can you share with me the reasons for you to change those jobs 4 times over?
Yeah.
And just see what he said. Maybe there's a legitimate reason. Well, the first one, we sold the company to the second company. Like that. If you look at my resume, there's like 3 instances of that where there's like a 7-year timeline where
And then it
technically
goes.
I work for the same place, but it was the company got sold 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so like on my resume, I have to list because it's a different employer name and everything. I have to list it. So it looks like I had 3 jobs in 7 years when in reality I had 1. Right. So there could be a legitimate reason for it, but we don't know until we ask.
Yeah, the way see some of them when that happens, which we had a resume it says previously this company name. So it's kind of like linking one to the other.
Yeah, it's all in. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. This is probably a poorly written resume.
Yeah.
But just because there's been 4 jobs in whatever that is, 5.5 years, that's
Yeah.
on average about like 1 year, 2 months per job. Like that's not great. I've seen a lot worse though, to be
Oh
honest
my
with you.
God.
Yeah, but I mean this person worked in a few good places.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
Harvard,
he's got
Raytheon,
yeah, those are, I mean,
Blackridge.
anything defense related is going to be awesome. They're going to have strong controls and standard operating
Oh
procedures
yeah.
that you have to follow. Now, it's not great that he was only there for 5 months, but maybe there was a legitimate reason. Maybe it was a contract and he was only supposed to be there for 5
Yeah,
months.
Raytheon was
Or,
a contract.
yeah. And then the Harvard one, a little less than a year, it looks like he was there. Maybe it's similar, or maybe it was something he was doing to further his continuing education in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we don't know till we ask. There could always be legitimate reasons for it. I mean, but he's definitely had some good companies. iRobot, Textron, Harvard, Raytheon. Like those are premier names. He's worth a phone screen, in my opinion. Like, help me understand.
Yeah.
Tell me about these last 4 jobs and see what he says. If it's a really good answer and it makes sense, then we move forward. If it doesn't make sense, we skip to the next answer.
Yeah. Because when it comes to this position, for us, it's a little bit harder because we don't have a very experienced machinist, and I'm not one of them either.
Right.
When it comes to the like the second interview where you're doing a what do you call the first is cultural, the second one is skills. When you're coming for a skill, if it's a junior kind of position, we kind of have an idea what to do. And
Agreed.
so we'll be relying on what they have on their resume, what they work on it. I mean, and if he can do what our guy that's a junior can't, then we know we have an issue.
Yep.
And that way we can spot it.
I concur.
Yeah, this one.
But I mean, that's Berica right next door to us. This guy also, Worcester, same thing, very close to us.
So he doesn't have
Good.
the CNC milling machine. See?
Yeah, he does
Why?
not. Yeah, interesting.
I saw that one too. The electrician.
Yeah, he has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, why he applied for it?
Absolutely nothing.
Because he's looking for a job. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was actually CNC machine operator
In
back in 2008.
For 2 years only.
But an operator is not what we're looking for. We're looking for programmer or set up an operator. So this is a no-go.
Yeah.
This is a no-go.
So yeah, this is where that if we forecast ourselves maybe sometime next year, we have like the video interview type thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It gives you great insight into those. Like, you did this, what was it, 2008? You did this 16 years ago. Like, why all of a sudden do you want to do it again? And then there also could be the opportunity where technically someone's title is operator, for example,
Exactly.
but they did stretch assignments. Like there's been many times in my career where my role said whatever, division president, but I ran the whole country, not just my division, right?
This guy, yeah, I know this company. I can call the owner actually on this
Oh,
company.
JW
JW.
machine.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So a lot
Here.
of these resumes, we
What's his
know the
name?
companies they work for.
What's his name?
Adam.
Adam
That'd
Riggs.
be a good
You
one.
can call,
Reach out to
yeah,
your buddy.
yeah, I can call John. Hey, John, this is Adam Rigsby. Does that ring a bell? Because he went from JW to owner operator of a moped service and sales and service. So he tried to be on his own.
Very
But
good company.
yeah, he's still
Didn't
present.
work out.
Yeah, still
He did
present.
it for 5 years and then said, I need another source of income at the beginning of this year, probably. And so he went to work for
Yeah,
uh, House Rich Brothers, or however you pronounce that.
yeah. Helfrich Brothers Boiler Works.
So you got a couple of people to at least reach out to, it looks
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah,
which is
what's
a
up
good
with
thing.
what's up with your Pike Cycles? Oh, that's what it
Pike
is. Pike
Cycles,
Cycles is where he
yes.
has the moped service and business. You know, how
And he does have a track machines. Can you go down to see the?
no, he
Wait.
has running conversational programming Herco.
What
It's
is?
different, but it's not the track. That's why I said call the kid, because the kid
Okay,
has
so we're gonna
been
call
working
the-
with tracks. I mean,
What's
we're
his
gonna
name?
call the kid anyways.
Dominic.
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 This could be a good one. I mean, this could be at least, hey, Adam, yeah, we noticed you own and operate your own business, but you also have a second job. So is this a second job that you're looking for? Or is this a full-time job? So could have been that he's just working part-time at this other place while or like the Pike Cycles is like a summer thing, right? Especially in Boston.
Yeah.
Mopeds and everything, that's a summer job. So what happens in the summer?
So you like this
So
one?
just sent
I'm
y'all
not saying I like it,
over,
it's just,
I emailed y'all just now some chat GBT thoughts around max 5 questions that you could ask during a phone screen for a CNC programmer / operator. Again, like in the phone screen, all we're trying to do is like weed out the bad ones. If they're
Yep.
decent, they're okay, they're average, or even great, that's awesome. But we're gonna get really deep during the in-person. We're just trying to like get them on the phone for 5 minutes to 10 minutes, get to know them just a little bit, and weed out the ones that is not worth our time. Is all we're attempting to accomplish. And then let's pretend for a minute that Adam and Todd and Zachary or Zach, let's say those three.
oh no,
We
Zach's
call them.
gone, yeah, Zach was gone. Zach's gone.
Oh, Zach's gone.
Zach's
Maybe.
an electrician, he should, yeah, it makes no
I mean,
sense.
that one's in Iowa, so like that one's simplistic. Like we're located in, Littleton, Massachusetts. Can you reliably commute to this consistent? Oh no, I didn't realize it was there. Okay, thanks for your time, and we
Yeah.
move on. So that one's a 50-50, but probably worth a phone call at least. And then however you pronounce the first one, so Sothernara, however you pronounce that name,
Something now, call Zach.
maybe,
Hey, Zach.
right? So we got 3 to 4 people to call. Let's say of the 3 to 4 people, 1 or 2 are worth our time of bringing them in.
In person,
We
yeah.
try to schedule them maybe early part of next week once all the holidays festivities are done, and if they're traveling for the holiday or whatever, they're back in town. And we try to do the in-person interview, sometime next week, and hopefully we like one of the two better than the other one, and we can move forward with at least one, if not both, of the candidates.
Yep.
That would be ideal.
Okay. Just for the CNC.
Yeah, then you
operator.
have senior. Oh, jobs easier. I mean, senior, there was a guy that applied for senior and for junior. It doesn't make
So, yeah,
sense.
he applied for 2 positions.
Oh, Joe.
Worth asking.
No one.
The way I always look at interviews is that there is potentially a legitimate reason for almost anything.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I'm in that person's shoes, I have no idea what that legitimacy is. And the only way I can figure that out is to ask. The obvious kind of gut reaction to that is he needs the job, so he's applying to everything. But
Yeah.
that's not always the answer. It could be, I really want to work for this company. I'm willing to come in as a junior, even though in my opinion, my experience is more of a senior. So I applied to both roles, but I'm willing to come into a junior and prove myself. Like
We
that would
had-
be an amazing
Yes.
answer if we asked
Yeah.
that question, right?
Uh-huh.
There's one from Hollywood, right around you guys in Cardone Ventures. Again,
That's Florida. That's Hollywood, Florida.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I mean,
close
not
to
super
Hawaii.
far away from.
Yeah, that's close to the Cardone in Florida. It's in Hollywood.
Oh, yes. So what is, he does have the experience? Like, I didn't check that one.
Government sales, parts, computer business, VP government sales. So he worked government sales his whole life. Military, government sales. '93 to 2007. So it's
He's
He's
fairly
been on-
tenured. The next one was 08 to 14. Like he stays at jobs for a long period of time, but generally you will see that in government contract work.
Yeah.
You almost have to like really mess up to lose a government contract. You have to do
Mhm.
something out of bounds significantly, or you're probably going to be re-upped pretty consistently. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I sincerely love people that come from government work, especially in a technology driven industry, because there's generally continuous education that is almost mandated or required in a government infrastructure, where they're required to do a recertification every year, or they're required to do X number of hours of continuous education, or they have an internal training and development system that they're required to do so many hours per month or per year. There's almost always something that requires you to advance in that type of a sector. So I personally love those people. They're generally going to come with a decent level of experience. They're probably going to have a certification or two. They generally have a pretty good work ethic. And if you've stayed around as long as this person appeared to in government, like chances are you've done a lot of continuing education or development. But again, everything I see here says Florida.
Yeah.
Correct.
So like that would be my main question. And if I get over that question, then I can get into the tell me about all this work. And someone that is in that government sector, assuming he is looking to relocate or get back closer to home or whatever the answer may be, if he legitimately is interested in working for you and your location, it could give you some potential contacts in the government world to get some pretty big, new customers down the line.
Yeah.
Possible.
This Paul guy is the one that applied on both senior and junior.
And he's from Connecticut.
He's in play.
He
Yeah.
lives in Connecticut, been in estimating for approaching 2 years, about a year and a half. Quotation engineer for an aerospace company, senior estimator sales. One of those ERW, he was there for 12 years. The next one he was there for 2. And then the next one after that, he was there for about 3. So he's got some decent tenure, decent experience. It's worth asking. Like I noticed you applied to both roles. Which one are you really passionate about? See what he says. Because it could legitimately be like, I want to work for you and I'll come in and prove myself, even though based on my experience, I think I'm more qualified to be a senior. If you want me to prove myself as a junior, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing person to bring in.
Yeah, he was in '92. He was on his first job, so he's probably on his mid-50s.
You think so?
Oh yeah,
Probably late 40s, early 50s.
yeah, early 50s at least. So he's not looking to be jumping. Well, he's not jumping around because he changed positions here, but same company.
Yep. So that might have been a lateral move. It could have been the quotation engineer role got eliminated and he needed to move over to estimating, or maybe he was just more passionate and had experience in the estimating. They talked him into taking that role. Who knows? But I mean, technically, he's been with that company since 2020.
Yeah,
So that's pretty good experience.
that's
The one
good.
before that, he was there a couple of years. One before that, he was there a couple of years. One before that, he was there for a long time. So
Yeah,
he's not a job hopper and he's got
no,
some experience. So he's worth a phone call at a minimum.
yeah, he's on the, and then we have Nicholas from Boston.
I feel like when you said that,
Oh,
I
I
feel
saw
like
that.
that Sam Adams commercial. Have y'all seen that?
Which one?
The your cousin from Boston who always wants a beer.
Yeah, yeah, I see that one. I saw that one.
I mean, this is a professional looking resume.
It is.
Um, I see sales. I see a lot of sales.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of remote and hybrid work.
Mhm.
Yeah, remote, hybrid, remote. Where does he live? Boston? And how far? I know Boston's huge, so maybe it depends on where in Boston you live, but like generally speaking, how long of a commute would that be?
An hour?
An hour?
About an hour.
Well, yeah,
It depends. If it is
because some people
traffic,
put
2 hours.
Boston, but yeah,
No?
we can say we are from Boston, but we're not from Boston. We're from Carlisle. So it's yeah. I'm not sure
But he does have any experience
because
on
yeah,
metal.
no dynamic sales. So more on the software side, right? Driver,
The good thing about sales, in my opinion, is that it's a little bit more easily transferable. Like
yeah.
sales is sales, you're just selling either a product or a service. But
Mhm.
once you've been in sales, you can pretty much sell anything. If you're good at it in one place, you're probably going to be good at it in another place once you learn the product and service. So that I actually kind of like. I
Yeah.
also love the fact that he was a fundraiser. That is like the hardest type of sales, in my opinion. It's fundraising. Because you are trying to get people to give you money for nothing. You get nothing in return. Just give me your money. That is
Mhm.
like the hardest type of sale. So the fact that he's got some experience in that is a plus in my mind. And he looks like a Maine slash Northeasterner,
Yeah.
a lifer kind of thing. He went to the University of Maine.
Yeah. To
He
college
lives in
football.
Boston for a long period of time. He's got a few different like certification type things. It looks like decent accomplishments in terms of
Never
sales
reflected.
quota exceeding. He does a ton of volunteer work, which is awesome because that just goes
Mm.
into kind of your work ethic. If
Mhm.
you are lazy, you don't volunteer.
You don't
You
know.
just, you
Yes.
just don't. If you're volunteering at now, he's only doing one currently, but like
Yeah.
in the year
Yeah, very fast.
2014, he was doing three different things.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
so
probably his
that's
tool.
somebody who's trying to give back.
Yeah.
I think he's worth a phone call.
Okay.
So we got, I think it was either three or four on the other one, two or three here. So we got probably six-ish people to make a phone call on the couple of different roles and try to narrow them down from there based on what they say. I
Leads
would
don't.
tell you, just experience wise, if you have the opportunity, today is a great day to make those phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because almost all people, even if they're currently employed, are either off today, took off today, or leaving early today from work.
Right.
So the ability to get somebody on the phone who is currently employed generally is challenging during business hours because unless they can step out or they work from home or something like that, if they have to go to an office, who's going to take a phone call from their next employer when they're sitting or in their current job? Like that's just not professional. If they do that, a bad sign. But
Mhm.
Okay.
today's a great day because that time period is almost open because of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the time and the capability to make those phone calls today, I would at least try. You may not get all of them on the phone, but you might have to leave a few messages or something. But if you can get a
Mm-hmm.
couple of them on the phone, you can at least begin that process of narrowing them down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll call the kid for in-person interview next week.
Yeah, who's gonna do that?
We'll have to come up with a little game plan.
And if possible, I would try, because not 100% of it is on you, but try to stack your interviews if you can. And what I mean by that is if you have 2 or 3 people to interview, put them right back to back to back,
Mm-hmm.
because it's super easy at that point to kind of compare and contrast people when they're really close together and you're asking them the same questions. You can remember, oh, well, the last guy's answer was way better. Don't say that out loud, but you can think that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to know than if you have 1 on Monday and 3 on Thursday, and then Friday you're going to make a decision. You can't really remember Mondays because it was all the other crap besides interviews happened
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yep. Makes sense.
That's you.
And I'm gonna ask the my friend GPT to create the questions, especially for the ones they do leave out of state.
Yeah, so
to
for all
know how
these,
to-
so we'll start with the phone screen, right? Phone screen, all these
first,
guys that we
and
put on the
then-
short
yes.
list.
On screen, yeah. And then I see you tried to request access to the sales scorecard
Yes, and
thing.
they denied.
Yeah, so I did that wrong. That's all my bad. I'm supposed to make a copy of it, put it in your folder so that our clients don't have access to the master document. So I will resend that to you
Thank
here in
you.
just a little bit, but
Sure.
try to use that if you like it. Try to use it for every single candidate so that you're kind of scoring everyone on the same questions in the same way.
Okay.
Rather than just a blank sheet of paper and you're writing stuff down. If you have like a kind of a template that you're following, it's a little easier to compare later and
Right.
know this person was stronger than this person because you're looking at the same piece of paper with the same scoring criteria against each other.
Nice.
And you did both interviews, so you're going to score them the same way. If you have
Okay.
3 different people interviewing the same role, it becomes a little bit more obtuse because even though they're asking the same questions, their assessment of the answer may be slightly different. But when the same person's doing the interview and asking the same questions, it's really easy to go, I rate that one a 7 and I rate this other one an 8. So obviously 8 is better than 7.
Okay.
We want 10s, I get it, but you're not always going to get a 10 on every single question, even from a great candidate. They might have a 5 on one thing. Like one question out of however many you may ask is not like horrible. Like not everybody's got a great answer to every question ever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I owe you that scorecard again here in a little bit, and I already sent you the ChatGPT phone screen
Oh,
questions.
nice. Thank you.
So it should be in your inbox. So are we ready to pivot over and kind of talk a little bit about next year?
Yeah,
All right, are y'all excited about next year is the real question here.
Yes, we are.
So I know you had your call with Patrick earlier this morning, right?
correct.
And I think y'all talked a little bit about budget and revenue forecasting and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't on the call, so I'm not sure exactly how that went. I've seen his sheet, but I wasn't a part of the conversation. Curiosity question: what revenue increase did y'all align with?
7.1 is the lowest.
Okay.
So we have 3 targets. The lowest, it's 7.1. The median, it's 8.3. The highest, 9.6. Right? That's what we have.
Okay. So 7.1 to 9.6
It's,
is our range.
Yes, the range is
Got
that.
it. Do you mind if I take the share screen for a second?
Oh, yeah,
Of
no problem.
course.
Stop
All
sharing.
right.
We don't mind.
So this is what we came up with for next year. This is not set in stone, okay? This is just what myself, Jeff, and Patrick came up with collectively together based on everything from your platform, as well as the time period that we've worked with you so far, what
Mhm.
we think we should focus on. There's going to be a lot more than this that we need to do, but in
Yeah.
terms of like the highest level things that we want to go after, these are what we selected and like how we believe we can achieve them. Okay. So we came up with 3 kind of high level objectives. So the first one is, as we think through and look at your platform delivery, one of the big things that we want to do is get into a larger facility and or open our second facility.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, we need cash because your equipment is pretty expensive from a capital expenditure perspective. So we need to build our cash reserves.
Mhm.
So we would like our kind of top most important thing that we really want to track and go after in 2025 is to build that cash reserve. As of the end of September, you were right around 900,000 is what your cash reserve was sitting at based on the profit and loss and balance sheet for
Mm-hmm.
September. So it might be slightly different. This was almost 2 months ago now, so the dollar amount may have changed up or down slightly. But as of 9/30, we're about 900K. We have a number in our mind's eye, but I didn't put it on this screen on purpose because I'm curious what y'all's answer would be. If we were to think through 12 months out,
Mm-hmm.
and so I picked end of Q3 because that's basically a year from the number that we have end of September, which was the end of Q3 this year. 12 months, how much do you think we could build that cash reserve to?
You give your number, I give my number.
Yeah,
Till
let's have
third
both
quarter?
because they can be different.
Until third quarter?
Right. So all the way through
I-
September of next year, end of September of next year.
Well, we do have the budget for the marketing, and then we're expecting to sell at least our goal is to do 800,000 per month. I would say comfortably 1.4 at least.
1.4. So increasing it by about 500K. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Carl?
I would go for 2 million plus.
Oh, wow, that's great. I like
That's
that.
my number. Because if
It's
we,
very, I
well,
like that. But
with a 7.1 and a 30% profit, we should be 2 million, we should have $2 million in the bank plus the 900. So it should be around
Right.
3 million.
So somewhere between 1.5 and 2 is what y'all are saying.
remember that
Somewhere in
we
there,
will hire,
preferably on the higher end, right?
we have to hire at least, I would say 5 to 7 employees for
Yeah,
next,
but
for
that's,
next year.
but we'll
So you
be
have to
higher because
remember.
we have more work. If we have more work, we have more revenue. More revenue.
So we're going to circle back to the cash reserves here in a second.
Okay.
Because how we're going to do this is, assuming we're aligned on these 3 high level objectives, we're then going to break them out and like, what will we do to accomplish them? And what is our kind of milestones along the way? So for example, if you were going to go run a marathon that's 26.2 miles, there's checkpoints along the way.
Right.
And you're checking your time at those so that you know what you're pacing to hit at the end of the race. So very similar to that, this is a long, almost year long target, but we want some checkpoints along the way to know, are we pacing ahead, behind, or right on pace with where we want to be? So we'll circle back around to each of these individually and kind of break them down a little bit further. The
Okay.
second one was one of them that I believe is hopefully going to be very aligned with you both, is to create a self-sustaining team
Okay.
by the end of Q2. So that would be the end of June,
Yeah, so beginning of summer, before summer.
right? And ultimately what that means is we have team leaders in each of the departments that are individually overseeing their team and managing the day-to-day operations of it.
Yeah,
Again, we'll break that out into what does that mean, but if we were to accomplish that, then that sets us up for a very strong second half of the year.
correct.
And then the final one is basically SOPs and KPI/metrics, but develop a comprehensive repository of trackable data. And we would like to do that sooner rather than later. So this is the target we're setting with the earliest finish line. That would be the end of Q1, because then we want to actually start having that data so that we can make decisions on how do we accomplish the other 2? How do we
Yeah.
have a team that's independently driving operations. We need data to really make those decisions. And obviously to build cash reserves, we need data to say, are we or are we not spending money where we should? Are we at or below budget? Are we bringing in things that are yielding us profitability, or are we just kind of hastily throwing money and hoping that it sticks on the wall? So those are the top three kind of high levels. So now let's narrow them down a little bit more. So this is where we're going to circle back to the cash reserve.
I'm not too far.
We came up with, and I love the fact that y'all came up with numbers higher than us. So we chose a lower target of
Mhm.
1.1 million to increase your cash reserves to by the end of Q3. If we can go better than that, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And again, none of this is set in stone, so we can absolutely change any of this. How we want to have those kind of checkpoints along the way is the key results section. So the column is on your left-hand side of your screen. So we have kind of 3 checkpoints over the course of time to tell us if we are pacing to achieve this mark. The first one is to have a full year-long budget for the entire year of 2025. And that would be for everything from, if you look at a P&L, every single line item on a P&L, there should be a budget attached to them. So that's your revenue, that's your payroll, that's your rent, that's your payroll. I already said payroll, but any supplies related expenses, staffing, marketing, anything and everything that is a business related expense should have a budget tied to it, both on a yearly basis and a monthly basis. So we want that like completely done so that we can track our progress in every one of those sections and know we spent too much money in whatever last month. Let's adjust this month so that we're not falling behind for the year. I believe you and Patrick have already been working through, and maybe you're getting close to finalizing this, but kind of finalize your new chart of accounts and revenue stream, more by a piece of equipment. That one might take a little bit longer because ultimately we are going to need productivity rates at every single piece of machine to be able to set quantifiable budgets on it. So we gave a little bit longer of a time frame to accomplish that. We're saying by the end of March. And then ultimately transition from cash to accrual basis on your accounting, basically by the end of June, so end of Q2. I think we can get that done a lot sooner, but just in case we run into any stumbling blocks, we wanted to give ourselves extra ramp time on that.
But we are on accrual basis.
Where did you see
Fully
that?
accrual? Because I thought Patrick told me y'all were on a what's called hybrid based, where some of your revenue streams are being captured.
What is the
And what?
Sorry, what is the difference? Are you able to explain what is the difference between hybrid?
I'll do my best. Certainly, Patrick is the expert
Okay. But
on this, right? But I'll do my best to explain it. So the kind of the difference between cash and accrual, easiest way to explain it would be if you sold something right now to a customer. When we capture that revenue and when we capture the expenses tied to that revenue, the difference in timing is whether you're accrual or cash. So if you capture it immediately, that is called cash. If you capture it based on when it is booked, then that's accrual.
Yeah.
It becomes very convoluted the more revenue streams you have, because occasionally you will invoice a customer and you might have a 30-day term on that invoice or something like that, where they have 30 days to pay you. And if they don't pay you immediately, you have absorbed expenses because you had to pay labor, you had to pay the actual piece of equipment and any supplies related to fulfill that order before you technically got paid. So you basically are pushing those expenses out till whenever that is paid. But if you're capturing those expenses immediately and the revenue later, that is called a hybrid account. And so my understanding from talking to Patrick was we are kind of in a hybrid where we are capturing some stuff immediately and some stuff upon receipt. And we have to like be 100% on receipt, if you will. So there's some transition. I'll ping Patrick here in a minute and see if he can give me specific examples on that, but that is like kind of high
Yeah,
level.
because I can say that we have both because we have the credit card orders they're placed and we get paid for even before they are done. And that's always going to happen,
What do you
especially with the instant quoting platform,
What do you know?
like from a cash standpoint to an
We just
accrual.
received the credit card when we shipped the order.
Yeah, but as soon as we ship it, we get the money.
Right.
So as soon as we sell the product, the money comes in. The other one, as soon as we ship, we have to invoice and then the money will come.
After 30
So I'm
to
not
40
sure
days.
if that's what it means as far as kind of a
Hybrid.
hybrid.
Yeah,
And
probably.
then what can we make it,
But
that become a accrual base?
at the QuickBooks, we have as accrual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it only gives you the two options
options.
in QuickBooks, right? It's either cash or accrual,
Cash or accrual.
but there is ways to, for
Okay,
lack of a better
that's
way
a
to put it,
question there.
manipulate it.
Uh-huh.
So I will definitely make sure and ping Patrick. So at a bare minimum,
Yep.
he brings it up on the next call. If not, give me insight that I can share with you on what are those either expenses that are being booked immediately versus they should be booked when
Okay.
receipt of payment occurs, or try to get you some clarification around that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I already took note.
So also, I'm going to send you this deck completely at the end of
nice.
this so y'all can read through it, absorb it, write questions down. We can talk through it again. Like we're just trying to have like the initial conversation right now so that whatever adjustments we need to make, we can make and have all of our goals fully aligned. We're rowing the boat in the same direction together beginning January 1, if not earlier. So we want to give ourselves, like the full month of December to be able to make any adjustments or fine tune it.
And so the cash reserves, that's company cash reserves.
Correct. That would be cash in the bank that's not being used, just sitting there drawing interest.
From ACP.
Of course, not yours
Correct.
money.
Yeah, if it's money y'all use personally or for some other business you may have, then that would not be included within this number.
Yep.
It is your true cash reserve of if for some reason revenue stopped altogether, there was no more income occurring for the business, how much cash do we have to survive? And we would take that number, divide it into your average monthly expenditures or operating expenses to give you a sustainability ratio. We want that number to be, I think y'all are somewhere around like 5 or 6 months right now, something like that. I could be off slightly, but we ideally want to push and stretch that number to between 9 and 12 months, considering y'all are such a heavy capital expenditure company. Your equipment is so expensive, right? We want that number to be as high as possible because if one of those pieces of equipment goes down and we have to replace it, like your cash reserves get ate up very, very, very quickly.
Correct.
So we want to build that up as much as we can. So the next one we talked about was a self-sustaining team. I need to adjust this. That's supposed to be Q2, not Q1. We're giving ourselves the first half of the year to set this up. So this would involve both hiring some individuals so that we're fully staffed. It would involve training and developing both the new people as well as the current team members so that they are functioning in their actual job duties and responsibilities. It would also involve tracking KPIs and metrics so that we have a way to say who is performing above, at, or below expectations. And then we want kind of some accountability related stuff that is being done through one-on-ones and performance assessments and manager feedback sessions and PPF goal conversations. Like all of those are quote unquote accountability conversations. And we want to be leveraging those so that we can continuously improve our team. And then the last part here is the one I think y'all are going to like the most, but transition, that's the keyword, transition y'all out of what I call daily operations. That doesn't mean y'all get to go live in Hawaii.
Love it, Joe.
All right. That might be a 2026 goal. This means you don't have to be there for the business to operate. You're there as a supplement. You're there as a way to drive growth, but you're not there to operate the business. We want to get you not running the business. We want to get you more into a growth of the business mindset. and we need a team to do that. Like if
Right.
y'all were to step away right now, like it would probably fall apart, right? But we want to get to a place where if you did step away, either for a personal reason or because you're going and looking for the next site, or you're building some strategic partnership with someone, the business is not falling backwards as a result of your absence. That's ultimately what we want to get to. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Do you like it?
love it.
That's
right.
the ultimate goal, and we're also still looking for the two of us and the kids. They're looking for $1 million revenue month, so we can book first class to Hawaii.
All right.
Just on the
We
way
got that
home
down.
yesterday. So
Oh, so he talked to you?
yeah, he was talking. So what did you guys sell $1 million yet? I said no, not yet. How what's the
We'll
percentage?
get there.
I'm not gonna
That'll
tell
help us build our cash reserves and hit that 7.1 to 9.4 growth target as well.
you. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then the
Nine is
last one
the
we
high
had
target.
was, sorry, the last one we had was the kind of repository of data that we can use to and leverage to make key decisions. So first thing we got to do is we got to identify what that data set is. So talking from a kind of top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel mentality. Do y'all know what I mean when I say funnel?
I understand a little bit of the funnel because of marketing funnels.
Marketing is basically the toppest end of your funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So as you do any kind of marketing campaign, the ultimate goal of that campaign is to drive leads.
Yeah.
Leads are at the top of the funnel. And then ultimately you are trying to convert that lead to a sale. That is like the next tier of the funnel. Once you sell something, it then moves into production because now we got to actually fulfill the order.
Yeah.
That is the next layer. And then as you complete that order and you receive payment, that's the next one. And then the final one is kind of like massaging that customer and hoping to either get them to be a repeat customer or referral customer. And then that ultimately brings you right back to the top of the funnel. We start the process over.
Yeah.
But we have to identify what are those metrics and KPIs at every single one of those pieces of the funnel so that we know if something is going awry, where is it going awry? What piece of the funnel is broken? And what do we need to do to fix it? Right now, we're guessing is the easiest way to put it in a lot of this stuff. So we kind of do have to start with the top of the funnel because it's really, really difficult to measure properly anything in a lower level of a funnel until you have the top one like locked down. So that's where the CRM scale comes into such an important thing because that's where we are going to ultimately drive campaigns and begin leads.
Yeah.
We got to get that kind of locked down because if that's broken, it's hard to understand where you are getting your sales and leads from. We can guess, but we can't say with 100% level of certainty. And we want to get to a place of 100% certainty.
Oh,
so
we do.
Hopefully we can do that sooner rather than later. We're saying like absolutely no later than Q1. So that would be the end of March. We would love it sooner than that, right? But no later than we want our CRM to be kind of fully functional. We're leveraging scale and everything and anything that it does so that we can start getting those data points.
Yeah.
The next one is kind of as we move down the funnel, create KPIs and metrics at the next tiers. So sales, we need KPIs and metrics to know from a sales perspective, are we converting correctly? Are our turnaround times on quotes proper? All that kind of stuff. As we move into operations, what's our production times and our production rates? All of those metrics moving all the way down the pipeline into accounting. Are we invoicing quickly? What's our AR balance currently projected at? How do we reduce that number? And then the final last layer of the funnel is those sales that have been fulfilled. How do we leverage those for future growth? So we also need some metrics and some KPIs in there. So we want to like create those, number one, have a way to track them, number two, and then provide visibility to the team. It's kind of like going to any sports event. There's generally a scoreboard somewhere that tells you what the score is and which team is winning. That's because a score creates engagement. And if a team, any team, doesn't know what the score is in the game that they're playing, it's very hard for them to be engaged to win the game. So we got to give them the visibility to know what the score is consistently and all the time. So we got to know what they are, be able to track them, actually track them, and then give visibility to the team. It's kind of a 4-step process. And then the final one is all those accountability related things. So all of our one-on-ones, all of our performance reviews, all of our PPF conversations, we should be doing those already, but they become much more impactful when we actually have data sets that are down to an individual level.
We have the metrics, yeah.
Because then we can say you're performing, best in your department, like congratulations, and here's the data to support that statement.
Exactly.
Or you're underperforming, and here's what we need you to do you to fix that, and here's the data to support that. Right? We got to have the data to be able to really have those leveraged conversations, and we utilize that to create accountability.
Yeah, I have 17 team members scheduled for January.
Perfect.
I mean,
So that's the end of kind of our initial brainstorming session, several brainstorming sessions internally with your SBU team of what we came up with. Like I said, I'm going to share this deck with you. I would love if y'all would look it over, kick it around, either mentally or talk amongst yourselves over the course of the weekend, and give me your feedback next week, and we can fine tune, adjust where we need to, and get to a place where we feel really comfortable that if we achieve these things, we set ourselves up for a tremendous success in 2025. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Sound good?
Very good.
All right. Awesome. I know we're a little bit over. Apologize for that, but I do have to get to another call. Is there anything that y'all need from me besides sending you that sales scorecard so that you have a way to do your interviews consistently?
No, we're good.
No, we are good.
All right. So I'm going to send you this deck and that scorecard here in just a little bit.
Thank you so much.
And
So,
y'all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know technically Brazilian Thanksgiving is a little bit different, but nonetheless,
yes,
enjoy the time off.
you too.
Enjoy the time with the family. Get some rest and relaxation. Like whatever you do to unwind, do that. And then let's hit it back hard again next week.
All right,
Cool.
perfect.
Same with you. Get better. Get your back
Yeah, you're back.
to where it was.
I'm gonna try. Appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
y'all. Have a good one.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.